Morning guys. Finally got round to finishing a few builds. First off is my TUSK 2. I've also finished a couple more which I'll show you at a later date. So all completed now pretty much. Don't know if I'm going to do any more weathering or not on it. Additions and extras. Drilled the barrels out as best I could on the 250 cals. Fitted the optical treatment, those little stick-on stickers. I found they wrinkled up a little bit, but to be honest with you, they look fine now they're on. Drilled out a couple of bedding rolls to slide over the antenna. Used the Meng set to do a cooler box, and obviously fitted some stowage. Haven't gone over the top on the stowage, to be honest. I've kept it, neat and tidy rather than strewn with rucksacks everywhere. The very rusty metal thing you see on the back here is it fits on the exhaust and it deflects the exhaust down onto the ground, but I believe that in a desert environment chucking the exhaust down creates too much dust, so it's stored on the back and it tends to get very, very rusty. So it's like an exhaust deflector. Also fitted the Duke anti-IED antennas on the back of the bustle. Painted those a slightly different colour in line with some of the reference material I'd seen. Whacked a spare wheel on as well. Painted that black for a change. Normally I paint them either desert or green, but I saw a couple of reference pictures with these in black. Some of the fiddly bits were the sort of doghouse armour around the commanders and the gunners hatches. In hindsight now, what I would do is I would fit the glass and then mask it and spray as it was. I fitted it after painting. I did use Maskol on the inners of the frames to stop them getting too full of paint, and I also used Norm's tip of the black marker pen around the edges of the glass, so you can see it gives it some depth and it looks like it's thick armoured glass rather than like that white edge it would leave otherwise. I also used I was going to paint it, but it was fiddly as anything. Around the edges of some of these pieces is meant to be like a rubber strip, to stop you banging your head on it, I guess. And I was going to paint that, but what I actually did was I used a black marker pen to do that. It's not exact, but it's not bad. So in terms of the turret, that's pretty much it. What else have I done? Decided to go for the black paint on this portion. I think it's heat resistant paint on this portion of the exhaust grills. You don't have to do that, it can just all be the body colour, but I thought it would add a bit more interest to it. A little bit of fuel streaking, not overly happy with that to be honest, but it's okay. And some minimal streaking on the side which you may or may not be able to see, just a little bit on the front plates of the turret. I might put up the build photos of this, because what I did was first of all I did the gesso, the anti-slip. I think next time I would do it a bit thicker. It was the first time I'd done it. There is a texture on there. I don't want to go over the top with it and make it look, too unrealistic, but I think I'm more confident now. I'll stipple it more the next time. And then once it had been gessoed, it got sprayed black. And then I got an airbrush and sprayed the inner portions of some of the panels grey, so like a sort of almost like a pre-shade and pre-highlights. And then I gave it a very light coat of the AK sand, so you still saw some of the highlights and things coming through. I think the only thing I'm not that happy with is it's okay. I'm okay up to a point, and then I get to the weathering stage in terms of pigments, and I start to doubt myself. I think actually now I'm looking at it now, it looks better than I thought. But for the weathering, the sand, I used that True Earth product I showed you the other day. So I used that a little bit, and I also used some good old MIG Desert Storm sand pigments. So I didn't go crazy bonkers with it, I just kept it, sort of subtle, because sometimes I go a bit mad with pigments and I just destroy all the detail and the effect I've put in with the paint. So hopefully it's got a nice dusty sheen to the bottom without being too over the top. There's bits that aren't perfect, but you can see where that product I just showed you, where that clings sort of in between the tiles and leaves like a sandy residue. and I put a little bit of that around the upper deck as well. I mean, I have seen photos of these where they're far more dirty than this, but I didn't want to lose all the detail, to be honest. So that's the Tusk done, and I'll just quickly show you. I've got a couple more that are completed, but finished the CV90 as well. And again, I haven't gone mad with the weathering on this, so it's had its filter, which has toned it right down. So that really high gloss, high sheen green has now been toned right down with the filter and the wash. And weathering wise, again, I didn't go mad. A little bit of pigment on the wheels, dark mud on the wheels, and I used AK. It was a tip from Lord's Farm Waller. He uses the AK dust effects, thinned right down like a wash to give a dusty effect. Well, I got the AK mud effects, which is a similar thing, thinned it right down and applied some of it to the lower portion of the vehicle, and I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. It's just dusty muddy without being over the top. Only one fault with this, well, there's probably more than one fault, but one major fault, and for all you guys who are in the know, can you spot the not deliberate mistake, but it's too late to do anything about it? No? Okay, some of you probably will spot that and some of you won't, but there's no way I'm taking them off now. So yeah, that's another done deal. That's 2 in the bag. The AAVP's not far behind, and I've done the final weathering on the T62 that's been kicking around for I don't know how long. Right, thanks for watching. Speak to you soon, and watch how you go.